protesters chanted. Death to the IDF. Pro-Palestine protesters chanted, "Death, death to the IDF," as they marched through central London on Saturday. Around 500,000 people have gathered, according to organizers, despite a U.S.-brokered ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas on Friday. Counter-protesters have been ushered away from the march by police, including one individual holding a sign that read, "We stand with Britain's Jews." Pro-Palestine activists have continued to express anger at Israel over its military operations in Gaza, following the October 7 attacks by Hamas, in which more than 1,200 Israelis were killed. The protest's organizers, who promised to make it the biggest pro-Palestine demonstration in British history, insisted that marches will continue until a free Palestine is achieved. Thanks for joining. Thank you for joining the Telegraph's live coverage of today's protests. Around 500,000, organizers claim, demonstrators gathered to march through central London this afternoon. Marchers chanted, "From the river to the sea," a slogan Sadiq Khan faced backlash over after he suggested its use was not necessarily anti-Semitic on Thursday. Chants of "Israel is a terror state" and "Death, death to the IDF" were also heard. At one point, counter-protesters have been ushered away from the march by police, including an individual holding a sign that read, "We stand with Britain's Jews." Organizers face questions of what exactly they are asking for, now that a ceasefire deal has been agreed between Israel and Hamas. The Palestine Solidarity Campaign said this afternoon, "We won't stop campaigning until Israel's occupation and apartheid is ended and Palestine is free from the river to the sea." Protesters disperse ahead of police restriction. Protesters are now dispersing ahead of the Met Police's 5:30 p.m. restriction. The demonstrations, which organizers have said involved 500,000 people, concluded in a series of speeches in Whitehall. Zara Sultana has criticized the Home Secretary for locking up pensioners and priests who support Palestine action. Speaking from a stage outside Downing Street, the Your Party co-founder said Shabana Mahmood doesn't want to just ban demonstrations, she wants to criminalize dissent. She wants to send a message that if you march for Palestine, if you speak out against genocide, if you demand justice, then the state considers you the problem. Shame on her. Ms. Sultana added, she is locking up pensioners and priests for opposing the ban on Palestine action and calling them terrorists. They are heroes. The real terrorists are the war criminals that continue to drop bombs on Gaza and the politicians here in Britain who welcome them with open arms. Shame on them. Stop the Hate counter-protesters are chanting "Bye-bye Jew haters, bye-bye Hamas" as pro-Palestine demonstrators march past. The group joined in with a rendition of "We Are the Champions" by Queen, which played over a speaker. Meanwhile, thousands of pro-Palestinian marchers have gathered near Trafalgar Square. They are singing "We are all Palestinian" and "We will have a revolution." 500,000 protesters have gathered. Around 500,000 people have gathered in central London for today's protest, according to first estimates by organizers, Palestine Solidarity Campaign. It had previously called for demonstrators to turn out in the hundreds of thousands. Group march behind Jewish Bloc for Palestine banner. Among the pro-Palestine marchers is a sizable group marching behind a Jewish Bloc for Palestine banner. One of them stated, "We are an inclusive movement for justice and freedom and the fundamental rights of Palestinians. You're here because your Jew haters. People are marching because they're Jew haters and warmongers," a counter-protester has said. A stand-up to hate protesters said, "You're here because you're Jew haters. You're here because you're warmongers. You just want to destroy Israel." Why